that strategy. But it looks like the bot lane here is going to be running a Varus Scion combo. That's going to be pretty scary. I'm going to say lots of poke coming from both of those guys between Varus's Q and Scion's Yell. It's going to be really good to see them playing against a Janna and a Misfortune.
Absolutely. And we might be seeing a Vigar pick here, potentially. Vigar being one of those immobile carries that we've seen snowball out of control, even in a lane that he was not pitted against to win, actually. And he actually did come out on top of that lane, being able to stack that AP.
There also might be a bit of a switch going on. Well, there's also a possibility between Fiora and Vladimir switching. If that's the case, that might also kind of negate Vigar's kind of potential in his lane matchup. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see whether or not Final Light decides to change and do a lane swap with their Vlad and Fiora, but we'll have to see if that actually might be a part of a plan that they might be running with.
Vladimir, I feel like, definitely has that higher kill potential on the Vigar, being such a bursty and sustainy AP character. Fiora is able to definitely go one-to-one with Nautilus and likely kill him on the earlier stages of the game, so it's definitely going to be both very fiery lanes against these more immobile carries that we're seeing from Hokages.
Right. So, how do you feel about the Final Light Gaming team comp?
Final Light Gaming's team comp is very interesting. It doesn't scream any sort of team comp in terms of like Wombo or sort of pick comp. It has elements of both, with the Scion Charge and the Scion Lockdown, as well as things like the Assassins like Kha'Zix, and the burst that you're going to be getting from Fiora and Vladimir. And Varus as well, able to engage from long distances and snare multiple enemies on a team. On the other hand, we have the Kage's team, which is very based off disposition and controlling a certain portion of the map to line up these Vigar and Misfortune skill shots. Misfortune not being picked really at all during this tournament.
I'm going to say, so definitely we're going to see a lot of making it rain. We're definitely going to see a lot of slows and stuns from the Kage side. So as much as it's more of a fortress composition for the Kage team, it's also going to be a pick comp, like outright. If Nautilus or Hecarim get around to you, they're not going to pretty much let you go, or they're going to push you back into the team. Vigar is going to make sure that you don't go anywhere after that. And between him and Misfortune and Hecarim, in all honesty, there's going to be a high chance that you won't survive any gank or any pick from those three if they're all working together. In terms of Final Light Gaming, that's a straight up dive comp. I would say we'll see an Ohm Wrecker at some point, but that would be kind of silly. But anyway, yeah, there's so much dive potential with this team. Between Fiora, Kha'Zix, Vladimir, and Scion, all pretty much able to run in and kind of tank a few tower shots. The Kage should be aware that they're not going to be completely safe under tower. If all of them want to go in and dive that tower, they are going to dive that tower, and they are not going to there's a high chance that they won't die on their way out. So,
and multiple characters on the Kage's team are very potentially able to be dived. Misfortune, no mobility within her kit. She only has flashes her only way out. That's on a very long cooldown, so if the pressure is put on by Final Light Gaming, she's going to be forced to use so. Vigar choosing to run double mobility here, probably a smart choice. However, Vladimir running Ignite, he's going for a kill lane early here for sure.
So it's going to be really good in terms of watching how both these teams go ahead and put their team comps together, or let's see how they put their plans together. Chances are someone's not going to necessarily have it go the way that they want to. So both teams kind of have a way to kind of change up their strategy and kind of assess what's going on and come up with better plans. So I'm really, really excited to see how these two teams figure out what they kind of fill each other out and figure out what they're necessarily going to do in the future.
Absolutely. Going to be interesting, though. We've seen teams like Tanuki going for that 5-man invade. It's going to be interesting to see what route teams are going to be choosing, whether to go on a defensive front line on all parts of their respective jungles, or if they are going to go in for deep and try to go for solo kills maybe, or just kills on singular champions.
I'm not going to lie. If I was going to take a guess, I would assume that Kage would probably go ahead and try and invade. They have a lot of lockdown, a lot of slows. Between Vigar and Nautilus, that's more than enough time to actually take a champion down. So they might invade, but at the same time, Final Light has kind of like a defensive comp for an invade. With the Scion and Varus and the Kazakhs, it's pretty obvious that there's a chance that, yeah, you could go in, but there's a high chance you're not going to get out if you go in. So we're gonna have to see what everyone's plans were necessarily in terms of this. There's a high chance that both teams are going to come out as a group of 5, just because this is the final match. You don't want to get caught out. Like, there's a lot of pressure on all these players right now, but there's not necessarily a high chance that both teams will actually fight each other within the first minute of the game, just because one seems to be anti-invade, the other seems to be pro-invade.
Absolutely. Kage is definitely holding that early invade. Level 1 abilities are going to be the thing that is going to propel them. Nautilus being able to hook. Hecarim, although it would damage his clear speed, he can run his dash and speed boost ability.
Right.
Which will be able to displace them if he gets behind them and brings them into his team.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's going to be kind of interesting to see where everyone goes, how they decide to work through this, and we'll just have to see how things play out. This is the first game of the best of 5 series between Final Light Gaming and the MKE Kages. So let's go to it.
Yeah. Final Light being on the blue side of the map today to begin, and then Kage starting from the red side.
And like I said before, it looks like everyone's going to be in a general area with each other. They want to make sure no one gets caught out. Looks like they found Scion. Janna's kind of wandering around, kind of making it seem like she might be by herself. But I think Final Light knows there's a group there.
And we see Final Light Gaming spreading out their team in order to possibly maybe go into the topside jungle, seeing that potentially many members of Kage's team are over there. Nautilus looks like he's going to be seeing the Kazakhs very soon here. Kazakhs are going to be swinging out with the Nautilus right there. Not going to be doing much to either of them, but that knowledge that there is a ward there is going to make Kage's play a little bit differently around that vision.
Yep. Nothing like saying hi. They just kind of hit each other, but they said hi and waved at each other pretty much.
Hey.
All right. So it looks like both teams are going to be starting blue. So chances are by the time that Kazakhs goes and gets through his full path, he's going to be in a position to gank bot. Hecarim's going to be in a position to gank top, and that might be good because of Fiora's potential to kind of carry. She's going to be fighting against a tank, pretty strong tank at that, but at the same time, Nautilus is going to need help if he wants to either get ahead or potentially survive in that lane, I think. So, talking about this bot lane matchup.
Yeah, right there. Ooh, getting a nice chunk of damage right off the bat on the Misfortune.
I'm say that double up. So with that, we have Misfortune and Janna versus Varus and Scion. Personally, Janna and Misfortune. This is pretty standard, bot lane. Sustain and lots of poke damage coming from both those guys. But Varus, I think, outclasses Misfortune when it comes to poke. Although that's depending on positioning, but honestly, that is pretty much the case in that situation. Misfortune's going to outdamage him in terms of auto attacks. That's going to be straightforward. But if Varus gets quite a bit of poke damage down before he actually goes in, or Scion goes in for that matter, he's going to win that fight.
Yeah, catching 2 members actually of Kage's bot lane in that Scion queue, doing a chunk of damage right there. Scion's Q has very positive scaling, having well over a 1.0 ratio
Right.
to the damage he's already has built. But yes, I agree that the Varus is going to win out in the poke game, being that Miss Fortune's double up does have that randomness to it when there is a minion wave around. It is not the most reliable thing around.
Right. And in terms of Janna versus Scion, Janna is definitely
Uh-oh.
and the pull to get out of the stun. Vlad did go ahead and burn Flash.
Ooh, that crit.
Yeah, Vlad went ahead and did burn Flash, but he was able to easily get out of that gank thanks to his pool. So it's going to be difficult for Hecarim to actually make anything happen, I think, in mid from then on out, now that he's kind of shown his hand a little bit.
Vladimir having a very good kit to go against the team that Kage's has set up. Able to pull away from the Vygar if he does find himself in the middle of that stun box, or to get away from the Hecarim in this case, and then flash away and cause him to push him under turret.
All right. So back to this matchup between Janna and Scion, though. Janna has a lot of disengage, while Scion has plenty of engage. They both have kind of their own poke mechanics, where Scion will yell and send a minion flying. Janna has her tornado along with her slows. But in terms of going and having a level 6 fight, I think they kind of negate each other for the most part.
Yeah, both their level 6s being very strong. Janna being able to flash in and give that large healing effect to her teammates, or just Miss Fortune if things go south. But also something I noticed in this matchup is that the armor shred offered by both Varus and Scion.
Right, that's very true. That is going to play a massive part, not only in the laning phase, but in the actual mid-game area where team fighting is going to be playing a massive part in how things work out. Ooh, and Fiora went ahead and nicely parried that auto attack. Got the stun off, but now we're down in bot lane again. Miss Fortune's taking a little bit of a beating, but she still should be all right for the most part. Looks like now Varus and Scion are either going to ward or to try and pick off this Hecarim.
They do not have vision of him, and they are not aware that he's right there. And I do not believe Hecarim realizes their exact location either, with no ward coverage for either team.
Right. I'm saying that honestly would have been a really good gank at that point had he gone ahead and taken that blast plant over that wall. All right, and it looks like Fiora went in again, but nothing really happened. Obviously, Nautilus is showing how tanky he is.
Yes, he is able to easily recover from those skirmishes, and it looks like we're going to see a hard engage here, forcing Miss Fortune to flash right there. Janna going to be ignited by the Scion here and be forced to go way under turret. Yeah, Miss Fortune lower on mana than the Varus, though, in this case, which is going to cause them to probably have to back off of this turret and cause it to take some damage, as well as losing out on some CS here.
Right, but she should be able to come back with a BF sword at least, or looks like she went with...
Hecarim going to come in. Fiora is able to parry that charge, but it looks like it's not going to work. Kha'Zix's coming in for some extra support there, just in case. And Varus and Vygar looking down at each other in the mid lane.
Okay. Okay, so she apparently got a serrated dirt, so that is a serrated dirt, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I was about to say the name. I tried to avoid buying armor pen items when I typically play ADC, so I just want to make sure.
Actually, Bilgewater Cutlass and the serrated dirt on Miss Fortune.
So, with that, she has a little more armor pen. I know that you mentioned earlier that Varus was had a little bit of armor pen attached to him as a character as well. We know that there might be also a little bit of armor pen in their Runes of Mastery page for that matter too. So she's kind of building herself up to kind of fill the same role that Varus would fill in a team fight. Although I think that she is a little more dangerous just because of her ult and how that armor pen tends to shred the existence of someone who might not necessarily have all that much armor to begin with.
Absolutely. See both bot lane AD carries being around the same place in terms of experience and how soon they are going to be getting their level 6. It'll be interesting to see, though, who gets the capital. Oh, the double up, though, and with the love tap damage on it, too, does half of Varus's health bar.
Oh, and now Vlad is caught again. I think they were waiting for him to pull, but he was able to get out without needing to have that.
He played it with a very cool head there, knowing where the Hecarim was and seeing the Vigar and recognizing that Vigar has not. He doesn't have his stacks yet, so he does not do the damage he needs to get him to go to pool.
Right. Also, something I just noticed, I'm not really sure what's going on, but it looks like Final Light